Hello everybody. Today I'm going to lead a Bible study on it is going to be about First John, mostly 4 to 13. So let's go ahead and read it first. Start it in the beginning, in verse 1, just to get some context. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. This man came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light which gives light to every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, but the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. Alright, so I read this yesterday and I looked through it a little bit. So when you look in verse 4, you see that he says, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. So Jesus was obviously life, but he was also a light, and the light shines in the darkness, verse 5, and the darkness did not comprehend it, which means that the light will win over the darkness, because the darkness can't comprehend the light. And that also means that if we become lights, then the darkness can't, we can't be stopped by the darkness. And moving on, in verse 6 through 8. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. This man came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all through him might believe. So, the man who was sent from God was John, and he came to bear witness of the light, so that all through him might believe. So, what this means is that we also need to be witnesses, and we need to bear witness of the light, also known as Jesus, because here we see light. The light was Jesus, and he was the light of men, and he was also the life. So he came to bear witness of it. So he came to show part of that to people, in a way that Jesus did. But obviously he's not Jesus, but being like Jesus makes you kind of show that light through more. And so he was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. See, that's what I just said. So he's got to be an example almost, or represent Jesus. And that was the true light which gives light to every man coming into the world. So every person that is born into the world has the chance to take part of that light, and everybody gets a chance to salvation if they accept it. Alright, and here's an interesting part, verse 10 to 15. 10 to 13. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. Verse 11. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. So, that was verse 10 to 11. So, what this means is, when he came down, even though he made us, even though he wants the best for us, we love our wicked ways, and we rejected him because he was just his light would shine, and then it would reveal the darkness of our sin, and that would lead to us not want, because obviously you feel uncomfortable when our faults and whatnot is exposed. So that's why we didn't like Jesus, and we didn't receive him, even though he made us, and he was a human as well. He became flesh, and we are flesh, obviously. And but as many received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name. So when you believe in his name, it'll make you, because if you don't reject Jesus, if you go, Lord, I see that I'm a sinful guy, and but I don't want to be it. I don't want it to be like this, and I want to have a relationship with you. Then that means that God can accept us as children of God, and we can have a relationship with him, and that's just amazing. And here it says, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And I think this is referring to when you're born again as a child of God, then you are not born of blood or the will of the flesh, which is, your sinful nature, or the will of man, which is, this world, and but of God. So you become more like God, and so I think that what this mostly says here is that God tells us that we are the lights of the world, and God is the light of all men, and life as well. Without God, there is no life. And we also need to be representatives of this light, just like John, and so we can spread the light and therefore life to other people, so that people don't perish. Just like a little later on here in the book, John 3:16, which most of you guys have probably heard. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. So obviously we do play a role in this, because we need to step up and we need to be the lights, so that people can see God's goodness and and spread it to others, so that they can experience the same thing and have eternal life.